Hello, folks. Good afternoon. This is TrampCast, episode 025, episode 25. I am Delta Mike, and the channel is Delta Mike, down and out in Torrevieja. Down and out. A tramp, a hobo, a vagrant, a person of no fixed abode, indigent person, homeless. Torrevieja, that's a city on the southeast coast of Spain, on the Costa Blanca south. Hello and good afternoon. Okay, folks. A few notices before we really get into things. A quick message for anyone who isn't watching live, anyone watching or who is watching live but who starts behind us. You can find yourself watching this like an hour behind. We'll be ahead, you'll be behind, you'll comment, we'll see your comment and have no context because you'll be in the past. Bottom left corner, the word live. You want to check and see you've got a red dot. Those of you that are literally watching now at 5 o'clock Spanish time, 4 o'clock UK, needn't worry. Twice in 1 week, indeed. I'd missed a week, so I got some catching up to do. Good afternoon, James. Okay, folks, what else do we need to say? You're not allowed to leave, and I need some thumbs up. Thumbs up, everybody. Let's get that counter rocking up. Tell your YouTube that there's something of interest here. Consider it at least. Tina girl, quiet, quiet. That's the other thing, folks. Let's do this. Tradition and all that. Where is she? Over there, look. I think you can just about see. I can't, not on my screen, but she's over there eating somewhere. Is that too close? That's probably too close. There's my girl. I just fed her just before we started. Let's switch back to the star of the show, or at least the one who thinks he's the star of the show. The Earnest Hemingway look-alike, apparently, folks, if you saw the pictures. The weather does indeed look gorgeous, James. Let's take a quick look at that for you. It's been a glorious day. Clear sky. I don't think I've seen a cloud all day. Not one. Clear skies all day. It's been gorgeous. The camp's still a mess. I am in the middle of tidying and sorting and throwing things away. Look, that's why it looks a mess. You've always got to get more untidy before you get tidy. The tent, look at the tent, folks. More on that later, because that's the week we're covering. This last, well, the week up to Sunday. Hemingway, the star of the show, indeed. Who'll be back with me? I'm struggling to even see my screen, folks, because of the brightness on my phone just doesn't go high enough when it's this sunny out here. Let's have a see. Where are we? Okay, you're not allowed to leave, folks. Once you start watching, you have to stay to the end. Them's the rules. If you must leave, try and give me at least half an hour, folks, eh? Or maybe pop back and catch the rest on the replay. Speaking of the replay, when the show ends, YouTube will automatically mark it private. If you're behind, it'll cut off and you'll drop out for a minute or two. I need a couple of minutes to go in at the end, change a few settings and make it public again, and it will come back to you. So whether you're halfway through, partway through, or whether you've watched it all and you want to go back and catch the beginning, you'll have to just wait for me to make it public. 2 minutes is all it'll take at the end. Okay, guys. Thumbs up, we've already asked. Some of you have complied. Thank you. I've got a word here. I can't even read my own handwriting. Oh, okay. Subscribe. At least consider it, folks. If you've seen more than 2 or 3 of my videos and haven't subscribed yet, why not? It's free. Okay. If anybody wants to take a minute or two to just pop open a new tab in their browser or whatever and go and share this on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, you can do that. I'd appreciate it. Either now or later, after the show will do, if you don't want to miss anything. But if you do go away and spend 2 minutes sharing it, we'll be right here when you get back. We won't have gone anywhere. We're still here. And as I've already said, check for the little live indicator in the bottom left if it's not 5 past 5 or 5 past 4 where you are. If you're not watching live. Okay, folks. As I said, this is TrampCast episode 25 already. Plus a couple of specials, plus a few part 2s. We're motoring with the numbers. But as we usually do, we'll start with a quick round of fun facts about the episode number. So in this case, 25. Hello, Tom. James hasn't seen any sun today. That's because you're in the UK. That's your mistake, my friend. I remember one summer. It was a Wednesday. There you go. Boom, boom. Okay. Fun facts about the number 25, folks. The number 25 is a square number, 5 times 5. Here's another fun fact. It is also the sum of a series of odd numbers. Starting with number 1, if you add 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9, so successive odd numbers, you will get 25, the square number. But here's an even more fun fact. This is true of all square numbers. They are all the sum of a series of odd numbers, starting with the number 1, counting upwards. All square numbers follow that pattern. Now you know. So the next one after 25, for example, will be 36, which is 11 after. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 plus 11 will give you 36. If you add 13 to that to get 49, that's another square number. That's 7 by 7. The same is true of all square numbers. You just add up a series of odd numbers starting from 1 and you'll find the square numbers. Now you know, guys. Maths. We've spoken about maths before. Once or twice. What else we got? Apparently in the Quran there are 25 prophets. Here we go, religious stuff. I don't touch religion too much. Science, folks, science. Robert Rabbie Burns was born on the 25th day of the year, January 25th. What else we got? Television, 25 frames per second, certainly on the PAL system, which was what I think was used in the UK and I don't know any others. I'm not sure which countries use that, but Stitch is in the house. Hello, my friend. I got the right one this time. Of all the cartoon characters I could have tried and picked, I always pick the wrong one, don't I? You could have been Fred or Barney. Okay, next. Where are we? Oh, periodic table. We're always on the atomic numbers and the periodic table. Manganese. Similar to chromium, which was that last week or the week before? Last episode or the one before? That was the last episode, which was, we were covering the previous week, but it was only 2 days ago. Time travel, folks. So manganese, just like chromium, is a constituent part in stainless steel. That's one of its main uses. It's also used in glass making and fertilizers, apparently. and also fungicides or fungicides, however you prefer to pronounce that particular word. It's also a key dietary element that helps in the human body, helps regulate metabolism and bone formation, and is a significant part of dozens of proteins and enzymes. It's very important for the human body. Okay, what else we got? Oh, okay, here's one, another maths. Just while we carry on with the human body. Found a lot in bones, but also in the liver, kidneys and brain, manganese. Now you know. Let's go back to maths though, because, you know, it's me. So 5 squared, 25, we all know that one. But it's a famous, what's called a Pythagorean triple. So the triangles, you know, your right angle triangles, and the sides and the hypotenuse. 3, 4 and 5, when you square them, you know, Pythagorean theorem, 5 squared, 25. But it's part of the Pythagorean triples, which also includes multiples. If you multiply those numbers 3, 4 and 5, so if you multiply by 2 to get 6, 8 and 10, still works. When you square those and add them together, you still get the subsequent square numbers and do your triangle stuff. Pythagoras, my friends. Pythagoras, one of the greats of maths and other areas. Okay, here's one that I didn't believe when I read it. This is the final fact, I think, on the number 25, and we'll move on. The final fact is, the average American will spend $25 per week on coffee. Didn't know this. Seems like a lot, but I'm guessing they're talking about store-bought, you know, your Starbucks and similar, rather than buying a coffee grounds or instant coffee. I don't even know if America does instant coffee. No idea. It's probably the predominant way of making coffee in Britain, I think. But takeout coffee, yeah, from the stores. Oh, Patrick's in the house. Hello, my friend. Didn't see you. Is that your first comment, or were you here before? This new interface is losing me every time, and I keep putting my hand in front of the camera. Let me scroll back through the chat and see what I've missed. Oh, not too much. That's the first one of Patrick's that I've caught. Did you all see the Hemingway pictures? What were the thoughts there? Tina girl, come back here. I've got the treats. Yes, that brings you back, you little bugger. Come here now, you finish your food. You have to stay here, otherwise you'll be a nuisance. She's taken to running away lately, folks. Can I get your lead, Tina? You're standing on it. Thank you. Comments on Hemingway. Do I or do I not look like him? Is that Patrick saying he was here from the start? Doppelganger. Oh, Karen's the one who... someone else told me about it, and Karen went off and looked up the pictures and sent me them, I think. Write a book. Put my picture on the cover. Yeah, that's a lot to live up to. That's a lot to live up to. I think I've only read the one of his, which was the Old Man and the Sea. I can't even remember it's and the sea or of the sea. I also listened to the audiobook, so you'd think I would be able to remember the name properly, but it's been a few years. Maybe. I was actually right before, for about 5 months before I started the YouTube channel, I was writing notes down. I do still have them. I did promise someone that I was going to write a book of this all one day, but I don't know whether YouTube's a bit more contemporaneous. I don't know. Maybe I can look back and do a book out of all of this one day. Okay, folks, we finished with the numbers. The next section, getting to know you. I've only got a few short questions here. So question number 1 in the getting to know you section, which is where you can get to know me. If you watch each week and pool all the answers, you'll have a pretty good insight into me and how my brain does or doesn't work. Okay. So the first question I've got here is, what's your favourite childhood memory? And this took a little bit of thinking about, to be honest. It wasn't a clear-cut one. But I have a couple of perfect moments from childhood, and probably my fondest was one afternoon lying on a beach. I think it was Scarborough. I would be about 10 years old. So Scarborough's a coastal town on the east coast of England, kind of northeast-ish. And it's just one of those beautiful summers, one of those long summers. We were away on holiday, the whole family, just lying on the beach. The sun was kind of behind us because the beach was kind of facing north, so the sun would be to the south, which would have been behind. I was just laying on the beach with my eyes closed, and I could kind of see the sun through my eyelids, you know, when it's really bright. And it was just for like half an hour just laying there, kind of on the edge of being asleep but being awake, almost a meditative state. Tina girl, I'm gonna get angry if you carry on with that. Stop it. Almost a meditative state, and it's just tranquil, and I could hear the seagulls, I could hear the sea, and just lying there in the sun. It was just magnificent, and it was probably 15 or 20 minutes, but it just felt like an age, like an eternity. It just seemed to go on forever. Just one of those perfect moments in life. Barbados. It kind of, you know, it probably doesn't happen often. Probably one summer in 10 where you get that. We'd had a few sunny days, and this one we're all on the beach. My dad did what my dad did. I am going to get angry if you carry on doing that, babe. Dogs. My dad did what my dad always did. He rubbed olive oil in his face and arms and chest, and literally baked in the sun. That was his suntan lotion, olive oil. Basically any cooking oil, but I guess he preferred olive. So that's just a really fond memory. I mean, that entire holiday, but just that moment, that 15 minutes, half an hour, however long it was, just one of those perfect moments that you just recollect forever. Okay. Oh, here's a question that I read and that tickled me when I read it. Especially given the situation I'm living in, but any upcoming projects that you've got that you're excited about. And of course, typically living like this, the answer would be kind of no, other than trying to get out of this mess. But I actually do have I've mentioned it before, I think, the idea of doing product reviews and trying to grow the channel a little bit by buying things that are of interest to someone in this situation. Call it off-grid living if you like. You might call it survival. It might be prepper adjacent. But just when you're living in a field, little things that you might find useful. I gave the example of a whisk because I don't have one at the minute. And whether that's a manual one or a USB powered, a lot of these gadgets now can be recharged with USB. And because I've got the solar panels, it's an option. So I'm looking at, because Temu is the only place that I can think of that accepts PayPal properly. I was trying AliExpress, but every order I created didn't have PayPal as an option. I don't know if it's because I'm in Spain or what. Just wasn't a payment option. Although I have bought from there before and it was an option. So maybe something's changed. Or maybe it's my account and me. I don't know. But Temu I can order and actually get delivered here to the tent. Giving the address, the man in the tent. Cala de la Torre. Torrevieja. So I'm thinking of, you know, spending a few euros on a box of 1, 2, 3 euros gadgets, doing unboxings, doing openings, and whether it becomes a separate channel or whether it's a separate playlist on this channel, I'm not sure yet. It'll probably start just as a sideline on this channel, but it might get hived off into a new project. It's a new project either way. And then I think I mentioned the ultimate dream was to get like the EcoFlow Delta and the EcoFlow Glacier, however you want to pronounce that one, which is a fridge. So having an electric socket here in the middle of a field and maybe having a fridge to plug into it. But I might start with smaller scale with an ice box, a small one of those picnic coolers, a 12-volt one, something like that. But so that's a project that I am kind of a little bit excited about. I'd like to give it a go. An extra string to my bow, an extra iron in the fire, as they say. So yeah, that. So when I saw that question, that just came to mind. Okay, next question, folks. Which reality TV series would you go on? Can anybody answer on my behalf? Anybody know me well enough? Let's see whether you get there. Reality TV series would I go on? The correct answer is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if we can see if anybody answered. No. The correct answer is none. Not interested in that crap. No time for any of it. I think the very first series of Big Brother, I kind of half watched. Naked and Afraid. If they drop me somewhere where there are fig leaves to quickly grab. That's a good one. I like that one, Patrick. Yeah. Survival in the wilderness. Me and a female partner both undressed. That's not gonna work. There's not much to hide, but okay, folks. So that's the answer to that one. Let's moving swiftly along. I think the final question, and we've already kind of touched on this, and it is harkening back to I've asked this question of myself previously on this show. I don't remember which episode. But previously I asked do you resemble a famous person? And I've been told 3 or 4 times that I look like Russell Crowe, which I never really saw, but it was just curious that 3 or 4 different people, maybe even half a dozen people, have said it, or it's been said at half a dozen different times. Probably not now with the big beard and everything, but I think that when I was clean shaved, if you look back, I did a video about my rapid aging as a tramp. Back when I had longer hair and a longer beard and it was all a bit unkempt. Before Karen arrived on the scene and became my my personal hairstylist and grooming expert. Hello, Karen. But yeah, people said Russell Crowe, but now obviously the more obvious one has to be the Ernest Hemingway. If you saw those pictures in the community post that I did a few days ago. It's either Saturday or Sunday, wasn't it? Where in the UK am I from? Sounds local to you. Hello, Karen. I'm local to everybody. I'm a northern lad, originally from near Barnsley, in South Yorkshire. But when I was 15, we hopped the Pennines over into Lancashire to Morecambe. So I might have picked up some Lancastrian, some Morecambian, Sandgronian as they call themselves. A Sandgronian accent. It's possible, I don't know. But we did also move around a bit. I lived in Penrith for 6 months and Dumfries in Scotland for 6 months. Maybe closer to a year actually, Dumfries. So I moved around a bit, folks. Worked in London. So yeah, I don't know. You pick this stuff up, don't you, as you move around. Lived in other places, lived all over the UK, or travelled all over the UK, and 3 months, 6 months, a year at a time. And now I'm Spanish. Not quite. No exactamente. Español es muy difícil para mí. Okay, folks, that was the getting to know you section. It is now complete. We now move on. I can't remember what's next. Oh, it's the thank yous. We now do the thank yous. Here we go, folks. Thank yous. I don't know where to begin with you lot. There are so many. On the financial side, there's PayPal donations. The week in question. So the 7 days up to Sunday just gone. We had Belinda. We had James Mack. I'm not going to give full names, but if anybody's here that wants to identify themselves. This was James's and his partner. I think this was their second donation, because the week before, as I mentioned in yesterday's show, nope, the day before yesterday's, the week previous they made a larger donation. But they came back again. And James is the sponsor of the beer currently. So cheers to James and cheers to the rest of you. James sent me some money and said, go have a night out. Go get some drinks. Have a drink on us, was the exact wording. Have a drink on us. So that's jolly nice. Cheers, James. And also via PayPal was Ian D. That's Ian with an I in the middle. IAIN. Ian D. Thank you very much, everyone, for the financial donations. Also this week, my friend Andy from Mountain View Farm came back. So this is the bloke that brought the big box of vegetables, the farm produce box. He brought that back, but he came back this last week. I think it was the Monday. We'll get to it. We'll get to the specifics. But he came back with fishing rods and fishing gear, weights and hooks and tackle, and it wasn't just the rods, it's the rods, the lines, the reels, the weights, the floats. I've no idea what I'm looking at. I know nothing about any of it, but all of that tackle is either on the rods already or in a nice big fishing tackle case box thing. I haven't even got the terminology for the bag. That's how ignorant I am, folks. It's going to be such a laugh when I actually get out there and have a go at this. But my mate Patrick suggested, it must be about 3 weeks ago now, Patrick, pushing me to go do fishing. We were talking about it, and then when Barry from Scottish Couple in Spain, the YouTube channel, came around, and then he came back and brought Andy. He mentioned that he had these fishing rods that he wasn't using. Well, he was using, but not for fishing. He's putting them in a field with kind of flags on the top to keep to try and scare rabbits and other rodentia away, other rodents away, I think. Because, you know, a homestead, a farm. I'm not sure where the line is between a large homestead and a small farm. There's probably overlap. Again, ignorance on my part. But thank you, my friend Andy from Mountain View Farm. And there will be, I did it this time, I forgot last time. There will be links in the description, and afterwards I will put something in the pinned comment with links to the friends of the channel as an extra thank you to those guys. Also like to thank everybody who liked, shared, and just tweeted, retweeted, told everybody about the videos recently, especially since the interview. Things really took off after the interview. Obviously I've shot up from 420 something subscribers to whatever the number is now. Tonight or maybe tomorrow, if things go slowly, we will hit 750 subscribers. Incidentally, folks, if you're here, if you're watching now and you're not subscribed, I would appreciate it if you'd consider it. I'm trying to hit those numbers. I'm trying to hit that magical number. We're going to get through 750 and on up eventually towards 1,000 subscribers. That's where we want to be for the real money. It's not a lot, but you know, it's better than nothing. But another thing that we want to do is get the watch hours up. I got a friend out there who seems to be hitting the playlists and just hitting play and letting them rip. I don't know if you hear, my friend. It's to do with high definition walks, sunny beach walks, 4K. Correct me if I've got your name right or wrong. But he's just, they've got it playing and they're just letting rip, and the together with everyone else who's coming in, all of the new viewers, the new subscribers, everyone who is watching. When I release a video now, I'm getting twice as many views as previously. But it helps if you kind of watch for an hour or two, you know, and just help me rack up those hours. I'm not allowed to ask you to do that, but I won't tell if you don't. Okay, folks. One or two, actually, because it's a family. One or two final thank yous. I've already covered the why, but one more reminder. Can you see that? I hope that's not just silhouette. To me, that's all just silhouette. I hope that shows up okay. But because of this, guys, we'll get to this on Tuesday when we're doing the week's events. But my friend Karen, her husband and family, thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. I don't know where to begin. Not just for pushing the button and actually buying the tent and then bringing it over from the UK, but for then bringing me around a coffee table and a rug, 2 coffee tables, a rug, a laundry basket, a pedal bin, an armchair. If you've seen any of my, if you saw the last live stream, that chair that I'm sat in a bloody big armchair in a tent. Not right now, but in the last program. Unbelievable. That was apparently thrown out by someone, and that was left by a bin. My friend Karen and her husband threw that in the car and asked whether I wanted it that right there and then, or whether I wanted to wait till the next day. And kind of before I answered, she decided it was going to be that day. That's how she spoke. Everything's now. Now. Karen and family, thank you. And Karen's mum, because I got a kind of a housewarming card, a welcome to your new home card. Shout out to Christine. Thank you, darling. I know she's not watching right now, Karen, but if I tell you that we're on 33 minutes, you can go back and do the replay and show her. Christine, thank you for the card, my love. And for the coins and the other bits and pieces in the past. Thank you. Had to be done, folks. Had to be done. Shout out to Christine. But Karen and family, entire family, deepest respects and thank you very much. Gonna get tearful again if I'm not careful, folks. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. I've been weepy enough the past few weeks, haven't I? Okay. Apologies. I'm sure I've missed people. I'm sure there will be people, in particular the people who have retweeted and things. My mate John Felix on Twitter. I'll do a link in the description and in the pinned comment. But also, I think it was Belinda again, wasn't it? People with large followings, people with 5,000, 10,000, 22,000 followers on Twitter who are retweeting my videos, helping bring. So just as things die down after the interview, I'm going to carry on doing that. The interview. Just as things die down from that, I'll release a video, and then someone with X thousand Twitter followers, retweets it, and suddenly a whole new audience comes flooding in. Really appreciate all that. Thank you, everybody. If I have missed you and forgotten anything, send me an email. There's always an email address in the description, and usually in the pinned comment. If you don't know it, it's Delta Mike Torrevieja, all one word, at gmail.com. I'm there to be contacted by anybody who... I only check the emails about twice a week, so don't panic if I haven't responded after a day or two. I have got your... It will be there, probably. But, I talked elsewhere about my my ability to put things off and not stay on top of things. Never do today what can be put off until a week next Thursday. Okay, folks, where are we? That's the end of the thank yous. Thank you all. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing. Let's motor on. Onwards and upwards. After the thank yous, what have we got next? It is the themes for the week. Themes for the week, folks. There's really one or two big ones, isn't there? And we've covered one. Karen and family. The other one is tent. Goodbye old tent, hello new. You should be able to hear the Happy Days theme playing after he's saying that. Goodbye old tent, hello new. Nothing can stop me when I've got you. Yeah. Shall I shut up? I shouldn't start singing, that's for sure. Okay. Tent, obviously. Saying goodbye to the old tent. Clearing the ground. Tidying the camp a little bit. But then clearing the ground, putting down a few ground sheets and it's actually a toldo, an awning, a big sheet, and then putting the new tent up. Did you see the video where the old tent where the old one came down? Did you see the part where it turned out that my bed was all that was holding the whole thing up? Unbelievable. Could not believe it. As soon as I deconstructed my bed, that damn thing collapsed. I had no idea. If you haven't seen it, there's a video where I built the bed in the first place. Probably, what? June or July last year? Quite a while ago. It's just 4 piles of bricks, 2 beams across, and then 4 planks across those beams inside the tent. And but it turned out that when I removed the mattresses and the piles of bricks and planks, the entire tent just bowed inwards and just pretty much fell over. This is apart from having the meter wide. I can't do a meter on this. You won't be able to see me if I do a meter. That's apart from having a meter wide. I always called it a split in the roof, but it ended up as a great chasm in the roof. Yeah. So tent. Goodbye old tent, hello new. Isn't it tremendous? 7 meters by 3. You can literally fit 2 double beds in each end. It actually has dividers and can be split into 4 bedrooms. Although you have to, if you do that, you have to crawl on the bed to get in. The bed's in the doorway. That's not what I'm doing. I've got the food at one side and the bed at the other, and storage all over the place. And then I've got a lovely big living room in the middle. I'd show you, but it's a mess. It doesn't take me long to make a mess, guys. But new tent. That's a major theme for the week. The other major themes, the wind, the weather. The reason that we didn't get on with this on, the reason that we didn't do a TrampCast last Sunday The wind was just too strong. The reason that all week long we didn't get to do TrampCast, the wind, and in some days the rain. Catch you later. The wind, the rain. We've had some shocking weather. A couple of nice days. Monday, actually, the forecast was for it to be really, really strong. This is why we didn't go ahead and do this on the Monday. The weather forecast said strong winds. They didn't really materialise. And then Tuesday, it said strong winds in the morning, followed by petering out around lunch. And we sat here Tuesday morning, regretting not having done it Monday, and worried because it was windy, but we decided to trust the forecast. Usually a bad idea, but fair dues to them. They were right on this occasion. The wind dropped just before lunch, just as we'd got the old tent down, and Karen and family arrived and helped me and Joby here to erect a new tent. We spent the morning emptying out the old one and then dismantling the bed and bringing everything out, and then dismantling the tent itself. But then they arrived to help us put the new tent up, and it actually went up pretty quickly, well under an hour. For the main body of sliding in the poles, erecting it, getting a few tent pegs in, and just left us to kind of stretch it out a bit and put some of the guy ropes at each end, and then get everything in. And of course the day was drawing to a close, and we were tired, so things just got thrown in. Anyway, this is the themes. I'm not supposed to tell you all the details. This is just the topics. But the wind was the reason that things happened the way they happened. Also the reason there's been no TrampCast all week, even though one was owed all the way from the Sunday. What else? Oh, damn it, yeah. Well, while we had the bad winds, the strong winds, the old tent was literally, and I mean this sincerely, I mean this really, this isn't just me saying this, it was starting to fall to bits. Some small pinprick holes, some small tears became rips, became bloody great rips, especially on the far corner, which kind of by my head in the bedroom. The rip went around one side of the tent and down the other, and all the way down to the ceiling. I used about half a roll of duct tape one night, trying to just keep it together, stop the rips from running. And the next day the wind was so strong, it had just ripped. It had carried on ripping anyway. All the duct tape had just come away from the fabric. Bits of the fabric had come away with some of the duct tape. The whole thing was just... Karen, you timed it just right. I wouldn't listen. I thought I could still eke another month or two out of it, but I don't listen. I got a thick head sometimes. You timed it just right, darling. Just right. We probably, this weekend, the week after we've put the tent up, this last 6 or 7 days, I don't think it would have survived this last week. I really don't. And that's not just me kind of being performative. That's not me just saying it because it's dramatic. I honestly think, after I saw it collapse when I took the bed away, but also the size of those rips that were appearing on that far corner, and the way that some of the other fabric was weakening and holes were appearing, the way that whole panels of the side were missing, chunks were missing from the tent. Watch the video, folks. I did a detailed breakdown of it as we dismantled it, as we did the morning's work. Less detailed on putting it up. We had clear ground and then boof, we had a tent up. But and then the cops arrived, didn't they, while I was inside videoing, showing people how large it was and what have you. The Guardia Civil arrived, finger wagged, and just reversed away and fucked off. That was fortunate. Okay, themes for the week. Reorganising the camp. Yeah, because that was happening before we did the tent. It's continuing now. I mean, I know the place looks like a bomb's hit it, but certain things. Let me show you. Let me show you this. Over there. Is it? It's not zooming in. Oh, there we go. So over there, I've got a couple of shelving units, but also there's a chest of drawers that's empty at the minute. I've taken the drawers out. That's going. That was where I was preparing coffees in the past. I was using the work surface. I've made the tough decision. Every decision was tough. I made the decision to get rid. So yeah, decisions have been made. Also, I had these two recliners, these two sun loungers. One of those is going. Even though there's almost nothing wrong with it, I just don't need two sun recliners, and they do take up a lot of the floor space in here, in the camp. A big pile of wood that I had from back in the days when I was when I was boiling water, treating water by boiling it, when I would spend all day collecting wood, chopping wood, and then burning wood to boil water. Obviously, we're a couple of years into a drought now, and that's never gonna. We're not gonna be going back to lighting live fires. But I was keeping the wood just in case. But you can do just in case too much. There's a fine line between just in case and hoarding, and I was probably skirting that line. So that's gone. The decisions are made. Things are in motion for organising. And the final theme of the week, which we've touched on already. My gratitude, my thanks, my gratefulness to everyone who's helped. A filter for drinking water, yeah. I don't want to be like doing a life straw thing, kind of for every drop of water I need. It needs to be something that will do a gallon at a time. Or more, 8 litres. So that's like 2 gallons, roughly speaking. Although the US gallons are different to the UK gallons, but that's a different question, folks. That's a different question. So yeah, those are the themes, folks. Those are the themes for the week. And with that said, let me just check. Yeah, I am correct. That's the end of the themes for the week. With that said, and only 47.5 minutes in, shall we begin? Now, normally we would begin with the Sunday after the last episode of TrampCast, but there was no TrampCast on the Sunday of the week in question, so that's a bit difficult. But that's because of the weather. It was so windy. That's when I cancelled the one. That's why we had one 2 days ago that was for the previous week, if you're following. It's difficult. I get lost myself. On Sunday I was talking about next week's episode, and here we are 2 days later doing the next week from that, because we were covering 2 weeks ago, and now we're doing the last week to get up to date to Sunday. If you're confused, it's okay. Alcohol helps. If you're playing along at home, drink. Lubrication for the throat, folks. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, folks. So the Sunday night, really windy. That's why we didn't do the. Stream. But that's also when Karen had come into the country, I think on the Saturday, and Sunday night she came around, and her other half, I almost said better half, but that would be incorrect. Her other half pulled up at the top of the road here and decided to go and buy a couple of beers, but everywhere was closed except for the petrol station. So over he went and came back with a couple of bottles of beer, which me and Milado here shared later. So that was Sunday night. A nice beer. Sat out chatting with my Oppo, the other guy in the field. Thank you, Karen and hubby. So what else? I'm going to be doing the numbers, guys. The number of because I've told you this is important to me. The number of subscribers on the channel and how it's been rising ridiculously the past. Is it 2 weeks or 3? It might be 3 weeks now since the interview. I'm not going to stop with that. Since Barry from the Scottish couple in Spain. That's their YouTube channel if you want to check them out. They, incidentally, this is out of order because I'm doing a week ago now, but they've just hit 10,000 subscribers. Fair play to them. They do, I think I've mentioned before, they do crank out the videos. About 1.5 a day, I think. But hey, once you get on this treadmill, once you're on this hamster wheel, you've got to get on with your grind and keep going. And the guys obviously cracked the code. 10,000 subscribers is no small achievement. So Barry and your wife, whose name I can never hear properly or remember when I do catch it. Sorry, love. but Barry and his missus, Scottish couple in Spain. Well done, you mate. Congratulations. And I really do appreciate your help the other week. And ongoing, bringing Andy round. Thank you. So yeah, okay, folks. So on this Sunday night, we finished the night on around 682 subscribers. Things had been moving so rapidly. By the next morning, we were on 685. And as is Tina's way, she wants to get up and about really early because dogs. Now, for once, I wasn't awake at 4 in the morning. It was 6 o'clock that Sunday. And not only did we get up to go for a walk, but then the bugger ran away. I told you, this is a recent habit that she started doing, running away from me. She thinks she's being funny. I can literally see the smile on her face when she does it. She'll turn and look at me and smile. And if I shout that she can have a treat, she'll come running back. And if I don't, she'll kind of laugh at me and run off the other way. Sometimes she just gets cheeky and runs off the other way anyway. So I spent half an hour, 6 o'clock in the morning, chasing around, shouting her. Which will have impressed everyone here or hereabouts. Which, there's not too many too close, but you don't want to be upsetting the neighbours. And in the end, I just gave up and came back to the tent. And I went and sat in the tent for 5 minutes thinking, bug out, meh. And I come out to go looking again. And just as I come out, I've got my head torch on, shining into the trees and bushes. And I can hear a noise. So I look in that direction, and there's a pair of shiny eyes looking back at me. And for once, it's not the other guys, it's actually Tina. For once, rodentia weren't a big part of this particular week that we're covering, this last week. For once, not a big. They weren't invisible entirely, but they weren't a big part. Now today, but you'll have to wait until next week's episode for that. So yeah, my girl just comes trotting back, like nothing's wrong, like nothing's happened. She just comes trotting through the bloody field, right back to me, without being shouted, without anything. I guess that's a good thing. In some ways, if she'd just not run off in the first place, it might be better. But that's my girl. That's my girl. So, this is Monday morning, and the weather forecast, like I said, was for strong winds. But they never really, maybe the odd gust, but they never really got going. But I'd recorded a video. I recorded a kind of a goodbye to the tent. I honestly thought for a while that Sunday night into Monday might have been my last night in the old tent, which I'd been in since end of May, early June, right on the divide between the two. So it'd been a while. 9 or 10 months, depending on how you count it, and I'm not going to try and get my head around that because I couldn't do it the other day. But I kind of was a little bit emotional in the video. Not tears exactly, but I was thoughtful, ponderous. I said thank you to the tent. I don't know. Do you do that? When you're about to get rid of some treasured belonging or some important belonging? Or if you're going to move house or something, do you say goodbye to the old house? I do. Probably makes me a bit of a tart, I don't know. But there you go. There's me. And using sexist gendered language. I know you wokesters won't appreciate it. Tough. So there I was anyway, folks, getting a little bit emotional, saying goodbye at the tent. But then I made the decision not to do it that day, not to push the button, because of the forecast of strong winds. And the occasional gust as well, it has to be said. But with hindsight, we could have done it. But, you know, weather forecasts. What can you do? What can you do? So there we are. I made the decision not to go ahead. But we did a little bit of tidying up, a little bit of preparation of the ground, because this tent was going to be 3 or 4 meters longer than the previous one. It wasn't going to fit in the exact nook, in the exact space there where the old one had been. So we were looking at whether to move the entire tent into the middle of the field here. But I decided against that because I get enough trouble with the authorities as it is. Moving into a stick out like a sore thumb location, whereas here I'm against a hedge. From the road at the top there are a couple of trees and bushes that partially obscure me as they drive past. Middle of the field where there's no hedges at the top of that part of the field was just too much asking for trouble. So I decided to stay roughly in the same location, but because it wouldn't fit exactly, we were going to turn like 30 degrees this way, move this way and come further out, which meant we had to move the barbecue and clear some ground and maybe squeeze between a couple of bushes and maybe try and make a bit of room to fit. I'll say no more. Walking a fine line, guys, walking a fine line. Sometimes crossing it, maybe. But that's life. Sometimes you just got to make do and make things work. So we used the time productively. Even though we couldn't do the tent that day, we tried to make it so there was less to do the next day. So yeah, there we go. Now I released straight away. I as soon as I'd recorded that that bye-bye tent kind of video, I sat down, cobbled the bits together, did a bit of trimming and minimal editing, pushed the button and got it out there. And something about it connected with you guys. That video flew out like no video I've ever done. Now in part, that's going to be because there's more of you. There's more of you joining the, what are we going to be? It was suggested to me once that you be called Delta Mike's Mob. I don't know. Once upon a time I thought, you know, with all these followers I should call you my apostles, but that seemed a little bit egomaniacal. I don't know. A bit irreligious as well, maybe. So we won't go there. I'm joking, folks. I'm joking. Don't unsubscribe yet. Give it half an hour. I see you. I see you with your finger hovering over the unsubscribe button. It's not allowed. Not yet. Give me 5 minutes to redeem myself. One of you left. I've offended somebody already. Okay, folks. So anyway, yeah, the video just flew out. It was watched like no video I've ever done. And while I'm sat here kind of watching graphs, as I do after releasing a video, Andy pulled up. As we said, Andy from Mountain View Farm. Links in the pinned comments and the description. This is when he brought me the fishing rods and the big bag, the big box of tackle and all that good stuff. I've literally got no idea what to do with any of it. My oppo in the field here has done a bit of fishing in the past, but it was river coast fishing in the UK, not coastal fishing, not catch and keep and eat fishing. His was the catch and throw back kind of sporty fishing. But I've checked out the laws here, and as long as we're standing on the coast, as long as we're standing here and not in a boat, no license is required on this this stretch of coast. If you're on boats and if you use certain other implements, if you're spear fishing and things, license is required. But casting a rod from the coast, there's no licenses, is my understanding. So we're good to go. We just need a little bit of knowledge. What to use for bait, what time of day to do it. Do you do it as the tide's coming in, as it's going out? When is the tide coming in? It's not very tidal, the Mediterranean. Certainly not here. If you're from the UK and you've ever been at Cleethorpes or Morecambe, where the sea starts 2 miles that way and then comes in when the tide comes in, it comes in 2 miles. The Mediterranean doesn't really, you can't see it move. Nothing changes. So when is the tide coming in, and when do you fish? We've got these things to learn. We'll get on with it. But that's that. My new friend Andy arrived and brought the fishing rods and the tackle bag and all the goodies, the weights, the floats, everything that goes with that. So again, thank you, Andy, for that. Yeah, we spent the afternoon clearing the ground, as I say, and by the evening we're watching the I'm watching my the numbers of views on that video that I released earlier, the emotional goodbye tent video. Not the one where we took it down, but the one where I thought we might. And in 12 hours, we had 361 views of that video. I've never had those kind of numbers in one day, or in this case, half a day. 38 hours of view time. So if you add up all of the minutes of everyone who viewed it, that's 38 hours worth of viewing, which is one of the stats that YouTube really like to track. So that was good to see. Basically, there was a time when that would have been my entire week's viewing figures, and we got it for one video in half of one day. So that's good. But it's not the end of the story. Things carry on. So we hit the night, or the evening, and this is where Karen came back. When she'd come on the Sunday night, she'd made me hand over a bag of washing that I'd been putting off washing for a while, washing my clothes for a while. We'd been low on water for quite a while, and washing clothes. If you've got half a dozen t-shirts to wash, you can say goodbye to 4 of these 8-litre bottles of water, and that would have been all we had for a week at one point. So I wasn't going to be throwing that much water around just to wash a few t-shirts when I've got bags of the things. But when she arrived on the Saturday, she made me give her a bag of it to take away. And she comes back a couple of times. We did this a couple of times. She took bags away and brought them back either the same day or the next day. Now! That should be Karen's surname. Good friend to have. A little bit bossy. I think she's gone now. I think she has to go. She has to go and do some work. I think I'm safe. She might still be here. I'm not sure. I don't know, folks. She'll tell me off either now or later, won't she? But yeah. So anyway, she comes back on the Monday evening with a bag of washing, but also brings the bag with in the tent, in case I want to try and read the instructions or have a go at putting it up on the Tuesday morning before they get here, kind of thing. But I know how much work it's going to be on the Tuesday to empty one half of the tent, then empty the other half, then deconstruct the bed, then take the tent down, move it all out of the way, then clear some extra ground and make things right, and put a base down to put the tent on. We didn't want to put the tent's ground sheet, which is built in. It's one big bag, really. The entire 7 meters by 3 meters, has got its own big ground sheet built in all the way around. And then the individual bedrooms have got another ground sheet of their own. They're their own self-contained bags or rooms, you know. But we didn't want to put the main tent ground sheet on the ground. A lot of stones, some a little bit sharp. We found little holes where mice were popping up in the last tent. We just didn't want, we wanted to put something else on the surface first to try and get some extra time before we get those kind of trouble, that kind of trouble coming through. I accept right from the off, right from now, there will end up eventually with holes in this tent. I will end up with mice and or rats inside this tent at some point. Hopefully not in the bedroom, but eventually, you know, eventually maybe. We want to put that off for as long as possible, so we were putting extra covers down. So anyway, Monday night into Tuesday, she brought us the tent, and we start Tuesday morning. We start Tuesday morning on 685 subscribers. And it's surprisingly windy, as I said, considering that we put off Tuesday. We weren't going to build the tent Monday, because Monday was supposedly going to be windy and then was relatively calm. Tuesday started quite rough, and I was worried. But the forecast said that the wind was going to die down at lunch, so took a gamble, believed the forecast. Usually a mistake, but on this occasion we got away with it. They were right, so fair play to them. Give them their dues. Sometimes they get it right. So we began the process. Me and my oppo, me and the other guy that's in this field, lent me a hand. He did a full day's graft, folks. He did a full day's graft for me. Full day's work. I was in the tent kind of handballing stuff out to him, and he then moved it well away and stacked it and what have you over here. And we were moving really quickly as well. We got things done a lot quicker than I thought. I was allocating an hour for this and an hour for that, and then half an hour to do that, and we were way ahead of schedule by 11 o'clock and on to 12. So we were motoring, and I was stopping periodically to video the process at each stage. If you've seen that video, not the goodbye one where I say goodbye, but the one where we actually deconstruct it and then build the new one. So again, I'm filming it and getting in the way a little bit, but slowing us down a little bit. But we get to the point where we've taken the tarpaulin, we've emptied one side, we've emptied the other, and I do a little look in both rooms, and the bed's still there. And then I take down the bed, and as I've said, that was basically the end of that tent. The moment I took away those two mattresses, those planks, and those 4 piles of bricks, the entire top end of the tent just bowed inwards, almost lying on the ground, almost horizontal. Ridiculous. Really, my bed was all that was holding it up, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I kind of ranted a little bit how incredible it was. If you've seen the video, I apologise, you know. But I was like really taken aback, really surprised. But with the bed out and all that done, you know, then we took the tarp off and tried to look out and see what the actual structure of the tent was, what the fabric was that was left with no tarp over the top, and with this metre wide gap where the roof should have been. But with all that done and giving you a view of what I'd been living in under, you know, through wind and the occasional rain and thunderstorms over the last 8, 9, 10 months, whatever that calculation is. That's what I'd been living in. That's what I'd been putting up with. But those rips, those things that happened those last couple of days were a sure sign that tent was not going to last any longer. So like I said, we got to noon, and Karen, once we'd got everything folded down and kind of out of the way, Karen and her husband arrived to help with putting up the new tent. And they'd brought this big cloth, this, you know, an awning, a toldo, that you wind out over your balcony to protect you from the sun or the rain. They brought a big piece of fabric that's under about 3/4 of the tent. to help protect the bottom, the ground sheet at the bottom. And we put that down, and then we laid out the tent, got the poles, and the, you know, these carbon fibre poles that have got a elasticated kind of bungee cord running through the middle. Got them together, got them into position, and again, between the four of us, it just went together. There was no confusion. If you've seen the video where I put the last, where I was looking at putting my last tent up when I first had it, when it was new, there was confusion because the instructions in the bag didn't match the tent. Well, there's none of that with this one. The instructions were there. It was obvious. They'd got photographs of it from when they'd seen it in the shop. It was actually erect in the shop. It was actually up for people to look at and walk in and, you know, check that it was right for them. Oh, they were checking whether it was right for me, but same idea. So it just went up. It just went up remarkably quickly, really. 6 tent pegs, 3 at this end, 3 at that end, and a couple of guy ropes, and Robert's your auntie's living lover. Fairly quickly up. I didn't time it exactly, but I think by 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that, we had it up, and job kind of finished. The work then was to bring everything back, decide how it was going to be. Oh, we had to put the internal bedrooms in, the internal linings, those self-contained rooms. We had to put those in. We had to decide which room I was going to be in, where was my bed going, and get the mattresses in, and then bring in, like, I've got a chest of drawers in there. Tramp, you know? I've got a chest of drawers in there, as well as the shelving that I used to have, and that I will have again. I'm going to repair some of this stuff. Some of this is going back in to help me reorganise. But we got to a point where we were just throwing stuff in this end and just storing things. Bringing in all the boxes of food, the big plastic boxes, like the dog food and everything. It's been a long day in the end. It's been hard work, and we were glad just to get things in. But I'm sat in there on the evening, after we're all done, I'm sat there on the evening, and I get a message from Karen, like, oh, we've got a coffee table, we've got this, we've got, and then so she brought a bunch of things, like a coffee table and a rug. I've got some carpet, you know, a rug in here. And I was sat on one of these, I've got a plastic rattan kind of style chair that I was sitting in. And on the evening, she texts me. She says, we've been out for a drive, and we've just passed a bin. We've got you an armchair, you know, like a single seat sofa kind of thing. A proper heavy wood solid piece of furniture. Inside my tent, I've got, in the living room area, I've got a rug, I've got a coffee table, I've got an armchair, I've got a laundry basket, I've got a pedal bin, lights, incredible, folks, incredible. But this is how, I mean, in Torrevieja, people are always putting stuff out by the bins, specifically so that if anybody else wants it, they can take it. In this instance, it's a tramp that wants it, and his friend brought it, or friends, sorry, brought it. This was Tuesday. A long day, a long day's work, a lot achieved, a lot done, and at this point, that video from the day before, the emotional one, is still running. It's still going. Hundreds and hundreds of views. So, on that day, the Tuesday, we picked up 15 new subscribers who were watching predominantly that goodbye tent video from the day before. But Wednesday morning, we decided in the end was a rest day. We'd worked hard Tuesday, and we decided to kind of take the foot off the gas and just hang out in camp and in the tent. My mate came over for his morning coffee, and we had it inside the living room, inside the lounge. Me on my armchair, him on the rattan chair that I'd been using previously, and we just had morning coffee and sat there. I'd previously, when I woke up in the morning, I'd edited the footage from the building the tent, taking the tent down and building the new tent, and put that out. Yeah, edited and released the video of the tent coming down and the new one going up. Sat inside with Joby, and unbelievably, the new video was kind of competing with that previous one, which, like I said, had flown out like no video I've ever done. I've had videos that in total have had more viewers at that point, but they'd had months to build up that viewership. This one, within 24 hours, had racked up however many hundreds. But this one looked like it was competing with it. Slightly below at times, slightly more at others, but it was bobbing around the same kind of metrics, the same kind of area, same numbers. But suddenly, that video, the one of the new tent, the old one coming down and the new one going up, suddenly took off, and it left the previous day's video for dead, left it in the dust, and I had no idea why. I just thought maybe it's catching on, maybe, I don't know. A couple of friends, my friend John Felix on Twitter had retweeted it. A few other people with larger followings than me, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 followers, had retweeted it. But that didn't really seem to explain the massive surge. This thing was flying out twice as fast as that previous one that had been my fastest ever. It was just flying, it was just going, and I didn't understand why. I'll find out later, or at least strong suspicion. So this Wednesday, I'm watching the graphs of the two videos, because like I said, numbers brain. I like watching numbers increase. I like watching the graphs. It's just me. It's just my thing. I tried to discipline myself. Patrick, if you're still there, I tried to discipline myself and only check every couple of hours, to a greater or lesser extent. Lesser. Yeah, that day, that Wednesday, 22 new subscribers. If any of you are here now, if you subscribed as a result of watching, if you saw me for the first time when the old tent came down and the new one went up, give us a I've missed some again, haven't I? Give us a nod if you. How long do I expect to stay in Spain? How long is a piece of string? I've got legal problems that mean I can't leave until that's sorted. My bank won't let me have any of my money because they don't believe I'm me. That's an issue. That's why I'm living in a field. I am a tramp. I live in a field, even though I've now got a palace within the field. Let's go back, see who else I've missed. A thick 4x4, is that meters? 4 meters by 4 meters rubber ground sheet. Possibly, I won't say no. We'll find a use for it one way or another. So nobody here is new because they saw that wasn't the first video of me that they saw. That's disappointing. I was hoping a few of you would be here. Maybe you're in lurker mode. Maybe you don't know how to use chat. It's kind of a speech bubbly looking thing at the bottom of the player. You click on the player and it should be, it depends whether you've got full screen or not, but if you're full screen, you click on the player, there'll be some icons at the bottom, one of which is like a speech bubble. Click that and you can join in with the chat and tippy tappy type to me, ask questions. I'll probably ignore you because I'm struggling to see the screen. I'm not ignoring you. What it means I probably just won't see. Okay folks, that was Wednesday. Thank you to everybody who shared the video and came along there. What is the long-term plan for this channel? To document my struggle, my friend. The plan is to try and get out of here eventually. I'm trying to contact financial journalists to try and get some pressure applied to the banks. Let me have my money. Once I have my money, I get my own solicitor, a proper real one. Once I've got my proper real solicitor, not the public defender idiots, once I've got my own solicitor, we push things along. We find out what's happening. We find out what the delay is. We argue my case and hopefully win because it's a crock of shit. Punching someone in a bulletproof vest and bruising their chest. Only if I punch like a bullet. Nah, I didn't even punch. I didn't throw any punches. It's all bullshit. Not portraying myself in the best light by swearing and talking about being charged with assaulting a police officer. But that's the legal trouble keeping me here. It's a crock. The guy spent 15 seconds from when he got out of his car to when I was tackled on the ground and hogtied. Those are options. I don't know who my Member of Parliament is because I'm not there and haven't been for years. Those are options, my friend. Yeah, I'd not thought about the Financial Ombudsman. I don't know if that existed back when I was there. That might be new. I don't know. I'll look into it. Thank you. We shall apply pressure, though. Once we have a big enough army, we'll go and shout at these people. Okay, folks, onwards. Where were we? We were on the day of rest, the Wednesday rest day, and people promoting the videos. And we go into Thursday morning. This was any MP, yeah, that would do. You'd need my real name, probably. It's not Delta, it's not Mike, but we've covered that previously. TrampCast 001. I've doxed myself half a dozen times in videos. I mean, it's not hidden. But if anybody needs it, contact me and ask. I tell people in the, once I'm in real world contact with people, especially if I've met them in the flesh, I tell them my real name. Patrick will attest to this, and a few others of you. Phil and Mark, and a few others have met me in the flesh. Karen, obviously. They all know my secret identity. It's not a secret. Anyway, folks, with 1 hour to go until the video that I'd released the previous day, it was like 23 hours in. There was a chance that we could hit 1,000 views on that video within the first 24 hours. This would be my first video to hit 1,000 views in under 24 hours. I've only had about 3 or 4 videos hit 1,000 in total, and they take months to get there usually, certainly weeks. To have one on the cusp of doing it in a day. So I tweet out and put out a YouTube community post, hoping that we can get the 20 whatever views that we need to get there. And I put my tweet out with the YouTube link. And Twitter usually will turn a YouTube link into a thumbnail, the YouTube thumbnail from the video. But with my channel, it's about 1 video in 10 gets the thumbnail. Possibly because I'm a low, it's a small channel. Low subscriber count, not many views maybe. And on this occasion, Elon Musk and co let me down. They didn't put the thumbnail on. So I missed by 9. We got to 991. That's I'll make do with that. If the offer still stands, yes, please, thank you. So 991 views in 24 hours. We missed out on 1,000 views in a day, and we got those next 9 in the next 15 minutes or so. Bugger! Next time. Thank you. Next time. We'll get there next time. So this was the start of Thursday morning, folks. Hoping to get this 1,000 views, and Twitter letting me down. But this was another work day. This is where me and my oppo here, me and Joby, we decided now that the tent's up and we've had a rest day, we're going to collect things and make the difficult decisions. Things that I've been holding on to just in case. I had about 40 glass jars, because you never know when you might need a glass jar. When you've got things like rice and pasta and drinking chocolate and things that are in paper bags, and you've got rodents running around. You know, the big ones, Roland and Co. The little ones as well are buggers. They're getting things. So I'd kept all these glass jars just in case. But as I mentioned earlier, just in case can kind of border on hoarding in the end. And I'd got these things, and they're laying around the camp. Some of them are in bags, some of them are in a pile over there. They're getting rained on, and the rain brings the Saharan dust, you know, the red sand that comes in the rain in Spain. So everything looks dirty and messy, and there's piles of rubbish that needn't be here anymore. The piles of wood that were here in case we had real fires, but we don't do that anymore because we've got a gas barbecue. All of these things that I've got in case. Pallets that are waiting to be broken down for firewood. Things like, you know, things like this. The old poles, can you see this? The old broom handles. My shelter way back was 6 broom handles and a bunch of bent over tree branches. Stakes in the ground, tree branches tied to the stakes, and then tree branches bent over and tied. And I got about a dozen of these things, dozen of these tree branches over there. But they're no use anymore. I thought a couple of weeks ago, tried to think about using one as a fishing pole, but bent it and it was brittle. It's been in the sun too long, it's aged. It was green wood when we first got it. Now they're just brittle and rubbish. If they're not going to be firewood, they're not going to be anything. Get rid. So we started this process of organising. We did a a good afternoon's work in the sun. It's a nice day, and at the end of it, my mate here, he said, "I'm thirsty." So he went over to the garage and came back with 2 bottles of beer, litre bottles, you know, not little bottles, 1 litre bottles. So we sat in the evening sun and you know, drank a cold beer. Don't often get a cold beer. Get beer, these from the supermarket, but they don't. In my supermarket, doesn't do them cold. You just buy them and bring them home, and you're supposed to refrigerate them yourself. Don't have that option yet. See my earlier comments about projects for the future. Get some electricity in here. Get an electric cool box. One of those ones that runs off 12 volts and gets down to about 5 or 6 degrees. That'll do. With a bag of ice. Cheers, folks. Just need to wet my whistle. We're going to lose the sun shortly, I think. Or at least I'm going to be in the shade. Haven't brought out any... I've got a shirt out here somewhere. Over there. Bear with me, folks. And it's not a teddy bear. I'm just gonna get my shirt. Oh, stretch my legs. 18 ago. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. Oh. Come in. Now this, folks, can you see this? Okay. There's another present from my mate Karen. Solar powered lantern. I don't know if it'll be bright enough for here when it gets dark, but I've got my big light somewhere around here. If we continue in the dark. But it's just getting that little bit the wrong side of comfortable. That'll make a difference. That will make a difference. Oh, my legs, they've seized up. My body's not used to sitting. For the last year or more, whenever I'm inside my tent, I've been laying down. The only usable space inside the old tent was the bed. So go inside, lay down, anytime, day or night. I'll be sat up on the bed or you know, laying on the bed. But to now have an armchair inside the tent for 2 days, I couldn't kind of get comfortable on it. Possibly, thinking about it, I've just been complaining to my pal here that I've got a backache, a little bit of a twinge. It could be that I'm just not used to sitting on the chair, or maybe there's something wrong with, I haven't got the cushions on straight maybe, and I just don't notice because I'm just not used to sitting. I don't know, folks. I don't know. Let me get comfortable and we will continue. So that was Thursday, wasn't it? That was Thursday we're talking about. Throwing wood away. I had this metal barrel as well. This metal, I don't know what they call it, a large bin or a small barrel. I've had it in the camp here ever since I first got here, more or less. And I've just never done anything with it. I had visions once upon a time. You know when you see workmen on strike outside a factory or the docks or something, and they've got a barrel with holes punched in it, and they have a fire inside, and they're all stood around warming around the barrel, around the fire. I had visions of a small-scale version of that. I can bet. Yeah, I can bet it would take time to readjust, and that's where I am at the minute. Yeah, takes time. Takes time. Although I've had the luxury of having a double bed all this time. Tramp, who's had a double bed in his tent all along. Had to build the bed myself, but the mattresses were for free. I was saying to someone not long ago, I'm not sure I would ever buy a bed. Not when I know how cheap bricks are, and plinths of wood, and planks. You don't need anything fancy, folks. You know? Depends on the size of your bricks, but just 4 piles of bricks about a foot high or 18-inch high. Someone give me that in centimetres, about 50 centimetres or less, 40 or 50 centimetres. Then a couple of wooden plinths, and then 3 or 4 planks. Sticky mattresses on the planks. Job's a good one. No point spending 500 on a bed. What are you doing? I don't know. Okay, back to the story. Sidelines from sidelines. Tangents from tangents. So yeah, barrels, bins, glass jars, all sorts of things. Clothes, what do you call them? Clothes hangers. I've been a tramp so long I can't remember words. Words are difficult. Maths is easy, words are difficult. I'd had half a dozen clothes pegs that I've picked up along the way. I got no use for them. I've got nothing hanging anything on. Throw them. They've been on the floor long. They're probably perished. I had a stunt kite, a 2-string kite. Never flown it, but I picked it up one day. Looked like it was in good condition when I got it. It was in its own bag and everything, a plastic sleeve around it. Looked okay. But the plastic's perished. The plastic sheet it's in perished. And so had the actual kite. It's all fallen apart while laying in the sun unused for 6 months. I don't know. It's a waste, but it's a shame. But now we're tidying, we're organising, we're getting there. We will prevail. So yeah, neighbour walking past. Very pretty neighbour. I wonder if she's a hobosexual like that guy the other day that I told the story of on in Sundays. It's my new word, hobosexual. Someone who wants to have sex with a tramp. I hate it when I tell myself a joke I've never heard before. Okay, folks, where are we? Thursday. Okay, after all this reorganising, we go and have a coffee in my living room, and coffee in my living room, and then matey boy goes back to his tent, and we agree that come darkness, about 8 o'clock or so, we'll carry some of this detritus away that we've piled up through the afternoon's work. We'll not just put into piles ready to take away, we'll actually start taking it away. When we get over to the bins, someone's beating us to it, and there's already a load of things over there, so we can't take too much. It would make too big a pile. So we decided to do it gradually over the course of time. We took 2 or 3 piles of the stuff that day, left it a couple of days, take some more, and over time we'll reduce what's here and get rid of everything that needs getting rid of. So that was Thursday. Yeah, we did 3 trips each to the bins carrying stuff, and And then the tent gets its first real test. It rained most of the night. Well, on and off, but a lot of the night, Thursday into Friday, we had rain. Now this will come into things in a little while, but there's a little part of the tent there. I found some droplets of water on the floor inside the tent at one part, which I put down to condensation. I thought, you know, as the air's cooled and maybe we've had a little bit of condensation, it's run down the inside of the tent. No. We'll get to it. So that's Thursday into Friday morning. It's raining all night. Incidentally, we got 7 new subscribers on the Thursday. So things are starting to kind of even off a bit and go back. 1 per day would be a typical thing for the channel, kind of historically. With periods where we get none, you know, then you release a video that catches on and you get a little spurt. But we're still, you know, 7 a day, 6 a day, on we go. So into Friday, cloudy start to the day, and the wind is building. The wind is starting to take hold. So sat in the lounge most of the day, just doing the YouTube thing, watching the stats, watching other people's videos as well. I got some catching up to do because I've been so busy in the week. I've neglected things, and I hadn't released many videos. So I got a bit of a backlog, like the previous TrampCasts that I still need to clip and release, you know, either shorts or like the numbers section or the thank you section. The parts that I often release as standalone videos. I'm a bit behind. And I'm struggling for space on my phone because my external hard drive is playing up. It's not. It's got a little error in the file allocation table, and my phone says, "Error, shall we delete everything?" Whereas I think a Windows computer would say, "Error, shall I fix it?" And it would fix it. Check disk or whatever the program's called at the minute. Scan disk, check disk, whatever the current version is. When you connect an external drive in Windows, it kind of does that automatically. Finds errors and offers to fix them. Your phone finds errors and says, "Shall we clear your entire hard drive?" No! So here I am now. So I can't access that. I can't offload things to that drive. My friend here lent me an SD card, but I've moved stuff over to the point where I've filled that and I'm now running out on the phone. And I need to download previous TrampCasts so that I can clip them. On the YouTube interface, you can clip like up to a minute at a time, I think. I need to cut out like 15 and 20 minute sections. The easiest way to do that is to download the entire thing and then chop it up and then re-upload them as separate videos. So that's what I need to do. And I've struggled and I'm behind, and apologies if anybody's waiting for those. Anyway, here we are Friday morning. Sat inside the room here, just looking at YouTube videos, trying to juggle things around and make enough space to make this happen, and failing. So it's a like I said, the wind was building. It was a cloudy start to the day, cloudy morning, but somewhere around noon, maybe just after, I decide that there's a chance the sun might break through. So I bring my solar panels out, but don't get. There's not much to be done. Tina girl, what's wrong? What's wrong with Tina? You're going to come and say hello to the peoples again. Let's have a proper... Let's see if we can get Tina on camera again. Hold on. Come here. You're going to say hello? There she is. There's my girl. Hey, babe. Hey, baby. Yeah. Somebody walking past that you want to say hello to. She likes to say hello to people and dogs as they walk past. And if she's not saying hello to them, she's saying, "I'm going to eat you." Woof, woof. So yeah, Friday's cloudy. I put the solar panels out. We don't really get a good harvest from it, and this will come into play in a day or so. Friday night, after we've had a bit of a failure on the harvesting sun. Stitch says hello, Tina. Where am I? Okay, failure to harvest some. But so we go into Friday night, and this is where I pay Karen some money from you guys. I'd made the decision already that I wasn't going to let Karen pay for the entire Karen and her family pay for the entire tent all on their own. I was going to pay half on your behalf. This is your money. This is the money that that you guys, people like James, people like Mick, those are the big donors. But the rest of every contribution is welcome, and the money has been put in this direction. I paid Karen. We've paid half. You guys, on my behalf, have paid half towards this. Unbelievably, guys, 3 people in 1 week offered to buy me a new tent. That is just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. But Karen had already beaten you to it. She'd already pushed the button, bought it, and was on a plane bringing it to me. Sorry, folks. She pipped you to the post. But I paid that half on your behalf. So thank you everyone for that again. That's another thank you. I probably should have mentioned more of that in the thank you section originally. But that was Friday night. I pushed the button on that, and then the winds happen. So I'm trying to watch my Friday night tights, but the wind's blowing, and I'm chatting a bit with Karen, and I'll admit, seeing that much money disappear from my PayPal account in one go, that hit me. But it wasn't my money. That wasn't my money. That was your guy. That was you guys. That was you. It was awesome with Karen and her family. Karen, her husband, and her mum. Yeah, fantastic. And not just the tent, but everything goes with it. The coffee table, the rug, that was from them. Going out and finding the coffee tables and the bringing me this lamp. As I said, that they went into a shop and bought. I think that's from Leroy Merlin. Tina girl, you're pulling. Stop it. Stop. So yeah, the winds kick in though. Friday night. I'm trying to watch my Friday night tights. Favorite program of the week. But I've got things going around my mind. I've got the wind. It's a test of the tent, and this wind is really. It's coming in sideways to the tent, so it's got the full length of the tent to hit. And it's really, it's like I said, the tent only seems to have tent pegs at the 2 ends. There's no holders, there's no rings or anything for tent pegs except at the ends. But there's the guy ropes, which I hadn't fully deployed, but I went out and deployed them on the side where the wind was coming from to try and stabilize things and hold things in place. It wasn't going to blow away, not with 2 double mattresses and all of my food and an armchair and a cat. It's not going to move, but it might get damaged or something. Things could get knocked over. So I tried to secure it with the guy lines. But all this is happening, and I'm not watching my program. Yeah. And so Friday night comes to an end. Friday night into Saturday morning. The wind is howling still. 7:30. And Tina wants her walkies. But I don't feel like it because it's blowing a gale. But I've got a couple of things to do. And we come out anyway. And I take her for a quick walk. Only a quick one. Didn't want to be out too much. I figured we'd wait for the winds to hopefully subside. And then we'd go for the proper walk. So I thought we'd just do the minimum to let her do what she needs to do. And yeah, that was the beginning of Saturday. Then later in the morning, 10 o'clock, the winds really kick in. Really, we're really, it feels like the tent's going to roll over. Logically, I know it's not, and I know it can't. But even with these guy lines tied, it's moving. It's whoa. Yeah. Then the rain really kicks in. Torrential stuff for an hour or two. Proper raining Spain rain. Remember, I've got a playlist, folks. The rain in Spain falls mainly on me. Indeed. It gets fierce at times around these parts. So yeah, now this day, Karen family, they're flying home. And she said that she's going to bring me, whatever food's in the cupboards at the end of the holiday. But it's hammering it down, guys. We get into the afternoon and the tent's starting to leak. This point where I said earlier, where we'd had a little rain and I found a few drops on the floor and thought it was condensation. Wasn't. There's one little area of the tent in between the door and the window where there's some stitching, and I can watch the water coming down on the outside of the tent, hits this little ledge, this little seam with the stitching, and then it's coming through. Got a plan to fix it. It's something and nothing. I put a rag on the floor, a little cloth on the floor. That got 90% of it. But I forgot to bring it out and squeeze it halfway through the day kind of thing. And it got oversaturated and then started to run. And my carpet got a little bit wet at one end. Only a little bit, not too much of it. But I've got a candle, wax candle. I'm just going to rub the candle on the inside of that seam and again on the outside. And okay, just taken aback there by a message I saw there. But I'm going to take a candle, I'm going to rub the inside of that seam, I'm going to rub the outside and see whether I can't just stop it from leaking in. A little bit of wax shouldn't, it's not going to hurt anything. Should, if it can actually, if I put the wax in the sun first on a nice hot day so that it becomes soft, and then well, thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to take a candle. Well, I'm not going to warm it with a flame ring. I'm not going to drip hot wax in, but I'll put it in the Spanish sun, which has destroyed quite a few candles that I've picked up over time. I used to have 6 citronella candles that you use to keep the mozzies away, keep mosquitoes away, and I had them in a drawer, in a plastic drawer, and inside the tent. And when we had the 50 degree, when the inside the tent got to 50 degrees, they just melted. And then they ran, and then they became a mess. Then it just became a pile of wax with 6 wicks coming out of it at random. Spain, it's too hot for candles, folks. It really is. Yeah. So there we go. I got a little leak in my tent. It's not the kind of thing I'm going to be bothering the manufacturer about or whatever. It's a little bit of something and nothing. We'll ride with it, we'll cope. I'm told, if I eventually look inside the bag that the tent came in, I'm told there are little patches and some sort of repair kitty thing. I don't know, but I don't know. I haven't got as far as reading manuals yet. I'm a male. We don't read the manual. Not unless we can't work it out. So far, it's all worked out. Maybe I'll get there one day. The bag's just inside the tent. Or the tent pegs. Guys, whenever you buy a tent, do yourself a favour and buy a separate set of tent pegs. The ones that come with them are always shit. We are hammering them into rock. It is like cement in places. You hammer it, it gets halfway in, and then you realise you're hitting rock. You move it 6 inches, you're hitting rock. You move it another 6, you're hitting rock. You move it back 6 inch rock, and it's probably the same rock. You're not just hitting stones under the surface, you're hitting bedrock, because we're on the top of the cliffs at the seaside. That's where we are. So guys, this is Saturday, raining. And Karen's on her way. She's on her way to the airport. I can't remember what time, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever. And she's going to stop off and bring a bag of food, she told me. And it's hammering it down. Now, I've got my big survival jacket on, which has got this silly epoxy pretend hood. Like a cagoule hood. Thin plastic hood, just tucked in the collar. Got that out. A little bit, But we run. They park up at the top of the road here, and I run up, and it eases off actually just as they arrive. But somewhere along the lines, one bag of food had become 3. Karen. I'm sure that she goes to Mercadona the day before she leaves and does an extra shop just so that there are things left that she can bring here and give me. I'm sure she does. I'm on to you, Karen. I know your game. So here we are on Saturday night now. And you know that I said on Friday I was struggling to harvest power. And Saturday we got none. I didn't even put the panels out because cloudy, windy, rainy. I run out of power. My phone's on 70 or so %, but it stops. I unplugged I think it was when Karen arrived. I unplugged my phone, and it didn't make that plink noise when it stops charging, because even though it's plugged in to the battery, it wasn't charging already. It had the charge controller had already cut off because it was on dangerously low. One light, and that light was flashing. Not 4 lights, not 3, not 2, not even 1 solid light, 1 flashing light. So that was no good. No, she didn't see. That was no good. Run out of power. So there I am on 60 something, maybe 70% on my phone, and I've got to get through to Sunday morning. And Saturday's my heaviest night for programs that I, have to watch, that I must watch. They're my regulars. Big Clive, Scruff Dog, and then usually Flashcast on a Sunday morning, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. But yeah, I was wary of putting live stuff on because of the screen. I think we've got a spelling error in that last comment. I couldn't make it out. Okay. Yeah, we all go through these bad periods where we're in danger, where we're financially insecure or unstable. This is the first time that I've literally, guys, I've got thousands of pounds in the bank. Not a lot of thousands, but some thousands in the bank. But my bank won't let me have it. And so I've been living in a field for 1.5 years. And I think another month now. When's the 14th? 2 days' time. It'll be 19 months, I think. Yeah, it will. Thank you, Santander. Appreciate it. Maybe I can do you the same favour one day. Bastards. Onwards, folks, onwards. Saturday night into Sunday, phone is desperate for power. My phone is screaming for power. My mate in his tent over there, he ran out of power as well the same day, same night. So we're hoping against hope. We're hoping that Sunday is going to be sunny. It lives up to its name, Sunday. Fortunately, it was. The tent almost blew away. We were buffeted all night, sideways on, and even into the morning. But we got about halfway through the morning and the wind died down. The sun currently, I can start harvesting the sun somewhere around 8:30 in the morning. If any of you have been here for a while, it's only a couple of months ago that it would be 10:15 before I could start getting the panels into the sun. But because the sun's a little bit further around and there are less trees there, it comes up, and then it's higher in the sky because we're starting to approach spring. Technically spring starts in about a week, yeah? 21st of March, I think that's right. Some countries call it 21st, some say the 23rd. Argue it amongst yourselves, I don't care, but it's there or thereabouts. Spring starts in a week and a day or two. So the sun's up nice and early, even with the wind. Panels are out early. Get them out. I tried charging my phone straight away and it won't. The battery's still too low. I have to give it half an hour just to build up some current. before the charge controller will let us. But as soon as I can, we're plugged in and we're charging the phone. I get it about halfway, and then I start charging the batteries that go in the head torch, and my big light here. And also I've got the this lantern that I just showed you earlier. It's got its own solar panel built in, so I've got this out and pointing at the light, pointing at the sun first thing. So yeah, all stations go, all systems go. Gotta get that solar harvested, because we've got nothing. So I'm also trying to do my notes for TrampCast. Trying to finish the notes from the week before, because I missed the TrampCast, remember? That's why we've got 2 this week. That's why I'm doing this on whatever day this is. Tuesday, I think, yeah? Sharp. I'm sharp. So there we go, folks. We're into Sunday. We're preparing notes. I'm trying to do the notes for both. TrampCast 24, the one on Sunday, and 25, the one you're watching right now. I made a start on 25, didn't get very far. I got the numbers and the running order, the numbers section, and I did the getting to know you section. The actual week I didn't get around to doing until today. So folks, that took us into Sunday, or through Sunday. We did the broadcast. I enjoyed myself on Sunday. I haven't watched it back yet, but like I said, I need to download it really. But I enjoyed myself doing the Sunday one. I did it from inside the tent, if you haven't seen it. Sat in my armchair, facing the sun, and then it gets dark. And it got cold pretty rapid, but I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to spend 5 minutes fastening doors and closing windows and all of that. So I sat there freezing my bits off until we finished. Then I had to get off my backside, and I was cold, folks. I was cold. I literally, at the end of the night, I could not get warm. I sat on my chair with 4 blankets, with a coat on, 4 blankets, all the doors done up and everything. And I had to eat some food just to try and get a little bit of chemical energy going in my body, try and get the metabolism to generate some heat for me. In the end, I put a coat on and got into bed with all these blankets and everything. Currently, I'm carrying blankets from on the bed to the chair on an evening and then back. And if I don't put my picnic blanket, the waterproof one, over the bed, over the quilt that I leave on the bed, when I come to get in, it's damp. Condensation in the air. Because there's a lot of air inside the tent, a lot of air getting cool, a lot of moisture, and it falls onto the quilt. So when I do come to get into bed and I put these blankets back on, the quilt's kind of not just cold, but it's actively damp, moist. So I have to remember when I've lifted these blankets off to put my picnic blanket back on with the plastic side up, just to keep moisture off the quilt. A quilt, you don't have that in America, I don't think. Duvet. It's a lot like a comforter, I'd like to believe. Similar. Padded blankety thing. I don't know. You tell me. I try and translate for you folks. I have an awareness of some of our cultural differences. I know you'd never use a word like duvet over in America. That'd never fly. French and all. You'd have to call it a freedom blanket or something. I'm joking! No offence was given during the making of this broadcast. Shut up. So, like I said, really enjoyed Sunday. Thank you. If any of you were there, and I know some of you were, if you were there on Sunday, I did really enjoy myself. Apologies that I wasn't able to see the chat as it was happening. Partly just the sun and the glare. Partly I had the wrong glasses on, and couldn't. It made it even more difficult to see the screen. So yeah, that was Sunday, folks. That was the week that was. That was the TrampCast. Now, looking forward to the week ahead. What have we got for the week ahead? Don't know. I haven't looked. Forgot to do this section beforehand. Off the top of my head, the tent's going to carry on being tested one way or another. I'm getting familiar with its little nuances. For example, it's got these air vents that don't have any way of closing them off. You can't put a flap down and velcro it down and close them off. So through the day when the sun's on and it's hot, that's great. You've got a breeze blowing through there. Also, the doors don't fix at the bottom. You zip all around and the bottom's left open with just a bit of velcro in the middle. But air, and also rodentia, Ratus and his little friends, his little cousins. I'm aware of these guys. I wanted to another so getting used to the tent. I'm going to find a way. There's one vent above the door. You remember I said we put the tent the wrong way round? What should be the real door with a bit of a stone porch over it is off there against the bushes, kind of, you know. By the time we noticed there was nothing we could do about it, we were already committed. But above that, there's a big air vent, and it's just a big mesh. If I hang a lantern at night, people can just see the light, and the wind can just blow in. There's no option to fold anything down to cover these things. I got some cardboard I'm going to cut to shape, and I'm going to put some duct tape, and through the day it's going to be open, and through the night it's going to be closed. I can't have it's great having ventilation when it's really hot, but having a big vent like that with wind blowing through it when it's already bloody ice cold, these things are it's never ice cold. It's Spain. We don't get ice. They had ice once in Madrid a couple of years ago and people died. They didn't know what to do. They froze to death in squats and things. But it doesn't happen often. It snowed once here in Torrevieja for the first time in 100 years. 100 years. But it's never cold, so these things are relative. But when I say I'm already freezing at night, I'm cold, and then there's this wind blowing in above the door and coming in under the door. Little nuances, guys. What I do is these side vents have these guy lines and these flaps over them that pull out through the day and guide the wind in and up through the vents. At night, I unhook those so that the material falls down and at least has a chance of acting like a valve and stopping the air move at night. The one above the door I'm going to have to cut out and shape something. I'm going through this process of just adjusting it. When I get up in the morning, somewhere between getting up and 10 o'clock, I have to open all the bedroom doors because it's like an oven in there. It just gets hot. If they're closed, they just get hotter and hotter and hotter. So I have to open the doors and let that heat into the main part of the tent, and then have the doors open with the as a mesh, a mosquito net door. So there's an actual door and then there's a mosquito net door. Have to open the main door, both doors in the day and have the mesh so that we get some cross breeze to try and vent that heat that's gathering as the sun's on the whole tent. So I'm adjusting, I'm getting used to it. It has its little foibles, it has its little things that I consider slight design flaws. The vents not having any kind of closing, it's tricky. I don't want to criticize it. I'm going to do a full review probably in a few days. Once I've adjusted, adapted, maybe after I've tidied it up a little bit, so that I can actually put a camera on in there and show you guys without it being too embarrassing. Like I said, initially we just threw things in. We had to get the day over and get things in, and now we're living with the consequences of that. Me and Tina are living with the consequences of that. The decisions you make, folks, they have consequences. They ripples down time, don't they? You know, after effects. So that's one thing. Me getting used to the tent, doing a review of the tent. I'd like to do a proper review. It is called a Watergate 8 from a company called Camper. Is it Camper or Comper? These glasses are reading glasses at this distance. The Watergate 8 anyway. Tina girl, can we have some quiet? Yes, there's people coming. It's okay. People are allowed down here. It's okay, darling. Relax. Relax. Tina's okay. Daddy's okay. We're all okay. Relax. I know. I've got cold hands. I'm tickling her belly and I've got cold hands. So what else? What else have we got on? finishing reorganizing and tidying out here, I said we had to move the Tina, shush, shush. We had to move the barbecue and the clothes dryer and move things around, reorganize. We're getting rid of one of the sun loungers, all this wood. So things, things to do. There are things to finish. Getting used to the tent and just adapting to the new reality. Also, rats and mice. I've just discovered a nest just the other side of the hedges. So alongside my tent at the other side, there's some bushes, and at the other side of those bushes there's some ground, and there's a road over there about 10 meters further on. But in between the bushes and the road, I found some hole. I had a rat. This is for next week, but I'll give the highlights now. I was sat in my living room this morning in my lounge. How grand does that sound? I've sat in my armchair in my lounge with the insect mesh, with the mosquito net door in place, and suddenly I see movement, and I look, and as bold as brass, there's a fuck off big rat just strolling along, just strolling outside my door, and this is daytime. It's like maybe noon, maybe a little bit later. Tina, shush, darling. It's just nice people. They're friends. They waved. But there's this rat kind of waved. He kind of stood there, and then he glanced and he looked right at me. And then, because I stood up to kind of chase, then he ran off. But then I heard some movement over this side of the tent under the bush, and I came out and I saw it was either a rat or a bird running on the ground, and there are some around here that do that, but I'd swear it was a rat-shaped thing. So I went ploughing through kind of where I thought he'd gone. I went looking through the other side of the bushes, and this is where I found these. I found a hole in the ground, and I thought, aye. So I came and I got my rat trap and the mouse traps, and I put them around this hole. And when I went back later, I went back and poured, I'll say water, down this hole. It wasn't normal water. It wasn't drinking water. But I had a vessel full, ready to be disposed of. So I disposed of it down this hole. Tina, let's have some quiet. Shush, quiet. So I disposed of some water down this hole, and then I saw movement. I saw a tail. I can't work out whether I only saw a small piece, a small bit, the end. I don't know whether it was a mouse tail or whether it was the end of a longer, larger rat tail. Hole's about that big, so it could be either. I think a rat would get down there. But later on, I went back to check again, check on the traps, and I looked a little bit for another yard on, another meter on. Yards and meters, folks, they're the same in human distances. A meter away, a yard away, there's another hole, another entrance or exit, probably to the same nest. And there's probably others around. So I put some of the traps around. I've only got 3 working traps at the minute, and only one of them's a rat trap. So I put one around one hole and the other 2 around the other hole, because there were 2 little runs to that one. You could see the paths, the literal rat runs. You see the paths they take. I've become a tracker. So this is for this week. I've got to handle this. I cannot have that close to my living space. I'm not happy with that. Because remember, under my tent we had a hole come up and they came in. It's entirely possible that their nest comes that far. It's only 3 or 4 meters. I'm not having that. I need to reduce the risk of having something burrowing up and into this tent. It will happen eventually, but the honeymoon period, the period where I don't have any problems inside that entire 7 meters by 3 meters box, that has to be as long as possible. I have to keep them away as long as possible. So that's on the agenda for this week. I need to learn about trapping rats or mice. I'm not happy to kill, but I don't see any alternative that close to where I'm living. I thought they were coming from, I hear them in the grass and in the bushes over there and over here, but this is right, this is almost under me. I can't, that has to go. They have to go. And I've been reading that even if you ransack a nest, if you like pour noxious fluids down or whatever, they'll still come back to it. They'll give it a while and they'll come back and repair and rebuild. They like the spot they chose. They chose it for a reason. They're not going to give it up for nothing. So I think that's it, folks. These are the getting used to my tent, clearing the camp, and dealing with rodentia, ratus, and whatever the Latin is for the littler ones. That is my upcoming. I've got some cooking to do as well. I've got some veg here that's been sat here a while, needs using, and I've also got some other stuff that's going to need using in the next day or so. So getting through my food, I said in the video after I built the tent about reorganizing in there, I got to deplete some of the food stores. I've got too much food for one guy living in a field. I get too much. Got to start plowing through that. So that's another one, I guess. Okay, folks, I think I'm going to let you go there. Thank you ever so much to those of you that have stuck with me. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Think about subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider it. If you choose not to, have a watch of another couple of videos. See if I can change your mind. When I smile like that, that's that real Ernest Hemingway look in the pictures that I put up the other day. I'll put a link to that post for anyone who hasn't seen it. I'll put that in the description, maybe in the pinned comment when I get around to doing a pinned comment. Okay, folks, remember, after we finish, there's a couple of awkward seconds after I click the button and I don't know quite when it ends. I'll say awkward moment, and I don't know whether it gets caught or not. But after we finish, the stream will go private. Give me 2 minutes to go in and make it public. And if you joined halfway through, you can go back and watch anything again. I just need those couple of minutes to get in and do that. Thank you ever so much for the likes, the shares, the tweets and retweets. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for PayPal donations. Especially you monsters that have donated the big money. You know who you are. Okay, folks, with that, let's do the traditional way if we can. Tina, go. From Tina. Oh, she's running. She's hiding from me. From Tina. And from me, Delta Mike. Out. Excuse fingers, folks.